In this video, I'm going to walk you through a behind the scenes approach of how people are writing nonfiction books so that they can grow their business or make an impact. And I'm going to share a few different stories, and the results might be different than you think. Now, most people who want to write a nonfiction book, why do they do it? Well, they do it for a variety of reasons, but some of the most common reasons that we see people writing nonfiction books is for lead generation, speaking engagements, coaching clients, to transition their careers, credibility, bestseller status, impact, legacy, and social content. Now, for many authors, it's not just one or the other, it's all of the above. And that is why writing a book for business growth and impact is one of the best things that you can do. It's one of the reasons that all the greats have books. Tony Robbins has books, Gary Vee has books, Brene Brown have books, right? There's a reason for all of this, and you can use a book in all these different ways. Now, my name is Jake Kelfer. I'm a 4-time best-selling author myself, and I've used a book in every single one of these ways. And we've now helped hundreds of other people through our company, Big Idea to Bestseller, write, publish, launch, and market nonfiction books to grow their businesses. And I'm going to give you a behind-the-scenes access into some of the people that we've worked with because I want to show you their journeys and what's possible for you if you begin embarking on your book writing adventure. Now, the first person I want to talk about is my man, Joe. Now, Joe came to work with us because he knew that a book would be the thing that sets him apart. Now, he had a nice job and he was doing some coaching and some speaking on the sides, but the problem is that there was no specific keynote he did. He did whatever talk somebody wanted him to do, which caused him to spend a ton of extra time and catering to other people's needs. Also being dependent more on their budget and what they needed versus him being the one in control, driving the sales, driving the revenue. He also wanted to generate more coaching clients and more exposure. But the problem was it was very inconsistent. And because he was coaching as a secondary thing, it made it very hard for him to know what was the best thing to do to generate more business at higher rates. And so Joe, what he did was he decided to write a book. Now, his book was going to be his way of articulating everything that he had experienced and everything that he had already coached on so that he would have a very clear roadmap for himself to teach, but also for people to go through so that they could start achieving great results, ultimately wanting to hire him to speak. And so what we broke down in his book, Enjoy the Grind, is we broke down a step-by-step roadmap that allows him to teach people in their 20s how to have more success and happiness in their life. It's a guide, step-by-step. And here's what happened as a byproduct of him writing this book. Okay. Number one is that he secured 5 speaking gigs in the first couple of months of his launch. This was amazing. But the kicker about these speaking engagements was not that he just got hired for them. That was a huge win in of itself. But what also was a huge win was that now he knew what he was going to talk about. So he no longer had to wait for other people to give him what they wanted him to talk about. He could take his book and turn that into the speech that would be given. And that allowed him to save himself tons and tons and tons of hours because he already had the best content and then was able to sell his book and give his book on the back end. So that was a huge thing. The second thing is he got invited as a huge sports fan, he got invited by the Houston Astros sales organization to come and speak to their members. He also had a college buy 300 copies of his book and give them to all their graduating seniors. Huge for a guy whose main audience is people in their 20s looking to begin their career, right? But the thing that is probably most surprising when he told me that, Jake, all these things have been amazing, but the thing that's most surprising is how much more confidence I have in myself now that I've actually written my book. He goes, I always thought I was good and people always said I was good, but now that I have my book, I have more confidence than I've ever had. And that's allowing me to charge more. It's allowing me to deliver more. It's allowing me to speak with more conviction about the work that I do. And he said that was one of the biggest wins he could have ever experienced. So that's a little behind the scenes of Joe and his book, Enjoy the Grind. I want to take you through somebody else. His name is Ralph. Now, Ralph has an incredible long career, okay? 30 plus years of entrepreneurship, 25 plus years working in the church. And here was the thing though, is he didn't know how to organize and structure a book. People didn't know exactly what he did outside of what he did, right? So people didn't know all the extra amazing things that Ralph could do because they saw him as this person, a community member, a staple, a great all-around guy. But they didn't know all these extra things that he could do. And what happened is that Ralph was struggling to get his name out there, okay, because of the way that people knew him as. So Ralph decided to write a book that would articulate his 3 decades worth of experience into a leadership-based book that would allow his community, his church, his current entrepreneurial clients, okay? It would allow them to see him in a different light, more of as an authority, an expert on this topic versus someone who just does and loves people and hangs out with all these people. And what happened when Ralph wrote this book is it positioned himself in a completely different way. And that was all he needed to do to have other people have their aha moments. It was like a book finally gave people permission to see him as the expert he was. And so what happened was when Ralph launched his book, he got invited to speak in multiple different states. He had an instant elevation of his credibility. He had a surge of confidence as a leadership expert. He secured bulk orders of his books with his ideal clients. And he locked in his highest paying keynote ever. And the craziest thing about all of this is that Ralph told me, and he said, Jake, people have always seen me as this. Now that the book is out, instantly, people started coming up to me and saying, oh my gosh, I didn't know you also did this. Oh my gosh, we'd love to talk to you about this. And that was the shift for Ralph. And so now he's able to deliver keynotes, able to work with people in additional capacities because he set himself up with his book. Now, a book is the vehicle to achieving all of these things. When you write a book, you can be seen differently. You can achieve all these things. And I want to talk to you next about Jen. Jen is a speaker. She's an educator. And she's someone who cares deeply about that work that she does. And the thing with Jen is that she knew she wanted to get to the next level as a speaker, as a performer, as an entrepreneur. But the problem is that she teaches, she educates full time. She needed something that would catapult her to the next level. And she believed that it was a book. But the problem was that she didn't know how to actually structure it. She didn't have a roadmap. She didn't have the right guidance, the right support that would help her get to where she wanted to go. And so what did Jen do? Jen invested to work with us at Big Idea to Bestseller. And what happened is she's someone who can do what is said, do what is asked of her. And so we gave her the roadmap. We set up the things in place and allowed her to be in her zone of genius, which is her content, her knowledge, her expertise, her experience. She's already delivered great keynotes. She's already delivered great work. And so she knew that her content was great. And all we had to do was give her the roadmap and let her fill in the blanks. So we work with her and she creates this amazing book. And what happened for her was that she landed her largest speaking gig ever before her book was actually complete. And she was able to do that because she had made the announcements that her book was coming. And this was a way for her to tie her book in with her already growing speaking career. That's the power of having a book, the power of being seen as the authority. She's gone on to do book signings at Barnes & Noble. She's doing nationwide speaking engagements. She's doing local events. And her books allowed her to reach new markets. She's even released a children's book that's a companion to her main book, Teacher Virens. Okay, this is the power of having a book. So you heard about Joe, you heard about Ralph, you heard about Jen. My question to you is, why do you want to write a book? Do you want more leads? Do you want to get speaking engagements? Do you want more coaching or consulting clients? Do you want to transition your career? Do you want to have a best-selling book? Do you want to be seen as the expert? Do you want to make an impact? If you said yes to one or any of those, it might be time for you to begin writing your book. Now, I'd love for you to be just like Joe or Ralph or Jen or any of the people that we've worked with. And so I want to give you our step-by-step roadmap of how to write, publish, and launch a nonfiction book. And it's a free copy of my book, Big Idea to Bestseller. It's a step-by-step roadmap, walks you through every single step of the process. And you can get a free copy of this book by going to bigideatobestseller.com/free-book. You go there, just input your information, and we will mail you a copy of my book, Big Idea to Bestseller. Now, I hope that you started to see not only what was possible, but that you enjoyed a little behind-the-scenes access of how real people are taking their challenges and their unsure and their uncertainty of how to write a book, and then turning it into a book that is not just a tangible business asset, but a confidence booster and a legacy driver. That's what I got for you today, and I hope that we will see your books hitting the bestseller list very soon.